Greetings, my dear viewers. The Pyramid on Air! Finally, we saw in the second part of the 19th episode, which turned out to be very epic. Today, we saw the legendary battle of the two strongest Titans against the Skibidi scientist and Pennywise, and we were shown what new abilities the weapons of the Titan cameraman have. Also in this video, you will learn about a new race of little people, and whether this Skibidi scientist was a fake. At the beginning of the episode, we see Pennywise throwing the Titan speakerman back a couple of tens of meters, but despite this, he gets into a fighting stance. We also notice that the battle does not take place in an amusement park, but somewhere in an empty field. The amusement park is probably left behind or is completely burning to the ground, since we can see a fire in the background, and Skibidi scientist and Pennywise specifically lured them to this area because they are preparing a trap that you will see at the end of the video. Titan speakerman loses his temper and shoots Pennywise with his laser, and Titan cameraman fights Skibidi scientist, where Skibidi scientist fires a poisonous missile from his cannon, but Titan cameraman manages to pull out his shield, which saves him. Pay attention to this shield, it looks like a sphere, and it comes from the new Titan weapon. The frame changes, and Titan speakerman still continues to attack Pennywise with a laser. But Pennywise seems tired of this and launches a counterattack with his toy hammers. However, despite its appearance, the hammer turns out to be a fairly strong weapon and knocks out the side speaker from his right shoulder. Also note that this weapon is called Bionic Hammer. This entire weapon is a reference to El Chapulín, Colorado, where the main antagonist used this bionic hammer. This hammer without the power of a hammer, but with decent attack and knockback and cannot be reforged. Meanwhile, Titan cameraman is pressed up against Titan speakerman, and we can see Skibidi scientist and Pennywise cornering them and heading to attack them. Titan cameraman then gestures for Titan speakerman to fight Skibidi scientist, and Titan cameraman will now fight Pennywise. The speakerman understood everything, and therefore took out his axe and rushed into battle. He attacks him with an axe, but Skibidi scientist deftly dodges, and then a powerful fire beam flies at him, which confuses Skibidi scientist, and speakerman delivers a sidekick to his face. However, from the face of Skibidi scientist, we see that he is also serious and intends to win this battle. Then he attacks speakerman with a laser beam, which turns against him because the Titan speakerman reflects it, thereby blinding Skibidi scientist. At that moment, he flew up to the scientist and cut off the claw with the laser weapon. Just look at his face. He is clearly unhappy with this. In the background, we notice how Pennywise falls epically, having been placed on the ground by Titan cameraman. He uses his jetpack to launch an airstrike. I was expecting to see the Titan cameraman pierce Pennywise with his new claws, but the frame changes to a first-person view of the Titan cameraman attacking Pennywise with two powerful white lasers. However, Pennywise manages to dodge, and a huge explosion occurs. We have not seen such a cannon before, and since it produces a large explosion, this cannon is incredibly powerful. If Pennywise had put his head on the line, it would have been fatal for him, but this did not happen, and Pennywise remains alive, and therefore he continues the battle against the Titan cameraman. He attacks him with a laser from his toilet, but cameraman manages to defend himself with a new spherical shield, while simultaneously attacking Pennywise with his machine guns. He manages to shoot it down and quickly loses altitude, falling straight onto Skibidi scientist. Smoke envelops the field, and the two Titans gather together again to continue this fight. However, this time, Titan cameraman will fight Skibidi scientist, and Titan speakerman will take on Pennywise. The fight begins, and Titan cameraman immediately delivers a powerful blow to Skibidi scientist's face. Then Skibidi scientist decides to use the sound waves emanating from his speakers. This confuses the cameraman, but the speakerman notices this and, sacrificing himself, turns off the speakers with one blow. Pennywise grabbed him from behind and began to attack him with his hammers. And as we remember, one blow of this hammer is very strong and can even break the speakers of the Titan speakerman. Cameraman does not remain in debt to his comrade, and therefore destroys Pennywise with his cannon, with which he also destroyed the crazy toilet in the 18th episode. Pennywise's head shatters into pieces, and Skibidi scientist takes advantage of the opportunity to attract the Titan cameraman's hammer with a magnet and is about to shoot with a weapon with a clockwork mechanism. However, Titan speakerman comes to the rescue, and with an axe blow, he knocks the direction of this weapon off. The Skibidi scientist doesn't understand what just happened, and he decides to look back, but his face is fried by the speakerman's flamethrowers. Titan cameraman enjoys this spectacle, but he hears a sound from behind. He decides to turn around, and we see Pennywise's body begin to move, and a new Pennywise head emerges from his toilet. This confirms one of my theories, because in my last video, I talked about the possible abilities of Pennywise, and indeed he has fast regeneration, which helps to cope even with serious damage. However, his new head looks very ugly compared to the first head, but he looks more like a monster. He extends his neck and uses his large teeth to bite through the armor of the Titan cameraman. But his attempts are very desperate. He moves so slowly that cameraman was able to easily dodge his ugly head, but he quickly got tired of it and decided to end it. He slaps him and shoots him with machine guns, then turns to Speakerman for the axe. Titan Speakerman also does a good job with the Skibidi scientist, as he literally kicks his head into the toilet, letting us know that the waste should remain in the sewer. Meanwhile, Titan cameraman attacks Pennywise and manages to knock him to the ground. Titan Speakerman adopted the strategy from his comrade, and with exactly the same blows he put Skibidi scientist to sleep. They thought that this was the best time to exchange weapons, because Titan cameraman fought with Titan Speakerman's axe, and Titan Speakerman fought with Titan cameraman's hammer, and now everyone was left with their weapons. I think this is a reference to Marvel's Avengers Endgame, because Thor also used an axe to fight Thanos, and Captain America was able to lift Thor's Mjolnir and save his comrade. Meanwhile, Titan cameraman stands on Pennywise's head, showing who is the father in this battle. But Pennywise uses a signal horn and stuns the cameraman. He then takes out his toy gun and shoots his opponent. However, only a flag with the caption "Bang" came out of the gun. Titan cameraman is perplexed and a little surprised that he survived. But at this moment, the toy gun shoots acid directly at the cameraman's protective lens. The frame changes, and we see the actions from the first person of the cameraman, who decides to remove his protective lens. He turns his head to the right, and we see Pennywise taking out a TV from which red radiation is emanating. And as we remember, the red light forces the victim to destroy himself, as happened in the 67th episode of the original Skibidi toilet series from Boom, when the Skibidi scientist pointed a TV with red radiation at the Titan cameraman and he began to saw off his head. Is this the end for Titan cameraman? The Titan stood in a stupor. He let go of the hammer from his hands and his head began to shake and his lens changed color from white to red. The end was near, but he was able to resist this radiation and like a real Giga Chad, cut off Pennywise's TV pincer. Pennywise is as shocked as I am how Titan cameraman was able to resist the TV. I think the Titans were well prepared for this battle because they knew there was a trap waiting for them. The Titan cameraman probably has a protective mechanism that is activated when the protective lens is removed. We have already seen something similar in the 14th episode of the Skibidi Multiverse, where this toilet removed the protective lens from the Titan cameraman, due to which his lens changed color to red, and he began to brutally beat this toilet as if he had lost control of himself. Meanwhile, Titan cameraman takes Pennywise by the neck and launches him into the air. He gathered all his energy into a core and sent it towards Pennywise in the form of a large white fire. I think that after this, it is unlikely that anyone will survive, and this is one of the most powerful abilities of the Titan cameraman. He releases all the fire from himself, and all that remains of Pennywise is the skull. But the battle between Titan Speakerman and Skibidi Scientist is not over yet. In this fight, Titan Speakerman seems to be losing, because Skibidi Scientist strikes one after another, and with the help of a poison missile, he destroys the cannon on Titan Speakerman's right arm. This is noticed by the Titan cameraman, who has come to his senses, and he charges his cannon and points it at the battlefield. Titan Speakerman hears this, and therefore he said goodbye to Skibidi Scientist and simply flew away to his comrade. Cameraman pulls the trigger, and a powerful explosion envelops everything around. Look at the destruction left behind by the new Titan cameraman gun. This is just crazy! The scientist survived, but was badly damaged by this explosion, and we can also see that he begins to spark, which means that this is a robot clone of the Skibidi scientist, which is controlled by the little Skibidi scientist, just like in the original series. Titan Speakerman tries to grab him, but it was too late, and the robot scientist teleports away. The Titans already thought that the battle was over and they had won. But suddenly, Titan cameraman saw something very terrible in the sky. He saw hundreds of toilet clowns with barrels of acid in their hands, flying down towards the Titans. They only had a few seconds left to somehow escape. Then Titan cameraman takes out his cannon from behind his back, and also asks Titan Speakerman to help him. The poisonous clowns are getting closer and closer, and the Titans, meanwhile, insert 2 cannons into these holes, which creates a spherical dome that must save the Titans. A powerful explosion occurred, which was 10 times stronger than other explosions. We remember that in episode 65 of the original series, there was a similar scene where the Titans defeated the G-Man robot, and they also fell into a trap where Skibidi toilets with acid barrels fell from the sky on them. Then Titan Speakerman tried to fly away, and Titan cameraman defended himself with his thin energy shield, which, although it saved him, the Titans were severely damaged. However, Dom Studio left a note in the description of this episode, which says that old tricks won't work anymore, which means that the new spherical dome was able to protect the Titans. Just look at this deep crater that this explosion left behind. However, only a small, untouched island remained, inside of which there were Titans. They exchange glances to make sure that they are definitely not in heaven, but suddenly their attention turns to the little man who also decided to hide in their dome. It was from the first person of this little man that we saw the first part of the 19th episode, but who is it? At first I thought that this was a new race of pencilmans, but this is clearly not a pencil, since we can see a photo camera on his head, and he is also dressed quite stylishly. Is this a new race of agents cameraman, or is this a photo cameraman? What do you think about this? Write your guesses in the comments. What awaits us next? I still have no idea what Dom Studio has in store for us in the next episodes, but I know for sure that they will be even more amazing, and in the near future we will see Titan TV Man as well as a Christmas episode, which will most likely be released on December 25th. What theories do you have about episode 20? Write them in the comments. May the force of the pyramid be with you. Good luck!